This video is for my WordPress people. Let's be honest with each other. WordPress, not that uplifting of a place lately. We've got vulnerabilities and hacks. And then maybe if you're feeling frisky, on the weekend, you could participate in one of the page builder wars and fight to the death over which page builder outputs the cleanest code. But there's not a lot that's really moving the needle forward for your business. So that's why I'm excited in this video to change the conversation a little bit. Let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about ConversionBridge. Now, this is a WordPress plugin that's doing something I have not seen any other WordPress plugin do. If I'm wrong about this, definitely drop me a comment down below. I'm sure you would anyways. But what ConversionBridge promises to do is to take the data that's being spit out by your WordPress plugins. I'm talking about things like LearnDash and WooCommerce and Fluent Forms and WS Forms and really just a ton of different plugins. You'll be able to take those plugins, send the interactions with your users over to an analytics platform that doesn't have to be, but could be Google Analytics, and count it as conversion data. So you can see when people do stuff on your website. You know what this means? This means that you could make data-driven decisions with actual data that the gurus have been telling you to do for over a decade at this point, but no one can figure out how to track this stuff. And finally, somebody has made it easy for us. So this is ConversionBridge. All kidding aside, let's go ahead and check out all of the integrations here. We've got 12 analytics platforms and 43 WordPress plugins. Now, this is just the start. This is version 1.0 for this plugin. They are adding stuff constantly. I feel like these numbers go up every time I look at this website. But if you look through, you're going to see most of the big names here, and even some of the smaller ones are going to make appearances. Now, there is a list of coming soon plugins, so if you're curious what's up next, you can check this out. However, I have talked to the developer of this plugin, and I know they are working on other ones that are still not even on this page. So there's going to be more. There's going to be a lot more. Will they get to every WordPress plugin? Of course not. That would be insane. But they're going to do all of the major ones. As far as the analytics platforms, of course, you've got Google Analytics, but then you've got some other big names, things like Fathom Analytics. That's kind of the, poster child for the indie hacker community. It seems like everybody is using Fathom Analytics. There's some other ones. Plausible is really cool, and User Maven, really cool. There's a bunch of great ones. I've actually tried them all, and if you want to see a shootout between all 12, well, drop me a comment down below. I'm going to need a lot of encouragement for that one. Now, I've already got a website running ConversionBridge as a demo site here. It's got a kind of Amazon type of look to it, and I'm using all 12 analytics platforms on the back end. Let me show you how it works. So I'm going to go to the admin bar, and then we'll go down to Settings, ConversionBridge. And you can see here, I've got all 12 of them switched on. If I wanted to turn any of them off, of course, I could just, boom, no more Google Analytics, no more Perch Analytics. And really, this is kind of like the first screen you'll see after you install ConversionBridge, and it's super easy to get going. So you just find the platform that you want. Even if you haven't tried any of them before, you can go ahead and get signed up. They've got links over here on the sidebar. So just click one of those links, get signed up for a free trial. Most of them will let you do a free trial without a credit card. I think only Fathom and then maybe one other one. I forget which one, but there's one other one that required a credit card. Everything else you can get like either 7 to 30 days absolutely free. Then the setup process is almost identical for every single one. You just click configure, you'll paste in either the API key, the tracking key, whatever they want to call it, some little bit of code you'll paste in here, and then you're good to go. Now, this alone solves a huge problem. Back when I started with WordPress, it seemed like the most common question I saw was, how do I put the Google Analytics tracking code on my website? Now, I know things have changed and users have gotten smarter and there's more tools out there to allow you to do this easier. But if it was just this for the tool, like that's pretty cool. Like, all right, click a button, boom, there we go. I've got my analytics set up. Bing, bang, boom, done. Of course, that's not all this does, but I have to point out that like that alone is very, very helpful. Now, they put some nice little touches on this that I want to point out before we actually get into the integrations here. I'm going to head over to options, and you're going to notice that by default, tracking is disabled for administrators, which means you can use your website all you want, you can test stuff out, and it's not going to affect your conversions over on your analytics platform. Really, really great. In fact, I might even extend this to things like editors and authors as well. Easy to do, just a couple clicks. Also of note, they disable tracking automatically. So if you make a copy of your website for staging, development, things like that, It's going to disable tracking. You're not going to end up sending some bad data back over to your platform because you thought you were testing out to, troubleshoot a plugin conflict. You sent in a form 3,000 times and now your analytics are hosed for the month. So really, really nice touches here. I like the default settings. I am going to go ahead and change mine right now to not include editors or authors. All right, so after you get your platform set up, the next page you're going to visit is the integrations. And here you're going to see all of the plugins that you have installed that are supported by ConversionBridge. Now, currently I'm using WooCommerce and Fluent Forms, and that's what I'm going to demo for you in this video. But there's also some features inside of WordPress core that we can track, which is actually really handy when you start to think about it. And I'll show you in a second. We can also track some things happening with the media library. Also really, really handy. Let's start with the WordPress core stuff first because everybody has this, right? I'm gonna hit configure here and I can see the options. So I can track 3 different things. I can track searches on my website, I can track logins to my website, and I can track registrations. Now, there are a lot of reasons that all 3 of these metrics could be valuable to you. Let's start with things like searches. Well, maybe you find that there's a disproportionate amount of searches compared to visitors on your website. Let's do some easy numbers. Let's say you have 100 visitors to your website and there are 45 searches. Well, that might tell you that either your website is set up to be a search engine, probably not, or the information that people want is not readily accessible when they land on whatever page they're hitting. So you definitely would want to adjust that. Very simple metric, but hard to figure out if you're not tracking how many searches are occurring. Logins, registrations. Maybe you're trying to track how many people are either signing up or using your membership site or buying your courses and then actually coming back to log in. That could be very valuable information. And again, if you don't have a way to measure it, it's very hard to make any decisions based upon it. Like, try it right now. Go look at whatever analytics you're using. You can see how many people visited your site, but how many people actually logged in? A little bit harder to do. All right, next let's cover the media library, because again, everybody has one of those. So with the media library, we can track some really cool stuff. I actually got strangely excited about this. You can track video plays, but I feel like that's less interesting because not a lot of people are using the built-in video player in WordPress. Usually you offload that to, some kind of third-party video hosting. But what you can do is track how many people are watching videos on YouTube. And there's nothing special you need to do. You just paste in the URL of the YouTube video. WordPress will handle the embed for you. You don't even need the embed code. You just paste the URL in, shows up. Those plays are tracked on your analytics platform. And as you can see here, we can also track audio plays, file downloads, and image clicks. Image clicks, I'm having a harder time coming up with a use case for why I would want to track image clicks. But if you know, let me know in the comments because I don't really understand. File downloads, I totally get. That could be very helpful. How many people are downloading my PDFs? I want to know that. All right, now I did skip over Fluent Forms, but there's not any settings for this. It's just going to track when someone submits a form. So we'll have a list of how many people hit a page, and we'll have a list of how many people fill out a form. Good, we can get a conversion rate. And with WooCommerce, you're going to get kind of the obvious thing, how many people placed it in order. Now, some platforms, some analytics platforms are going to pull in more information than this. It's typically called like enhanced e-commerce data or things like that. If you're using Google Analytics 4, it's part of their enhanced measurements package. You just click a little button and all of that information comes over. It's going to have information like not only how many orders were placed, but what was the value of the order and what items were ordered sometimes is included. Now, this varies, like I said, from platform to platform, and we'll cover that next. Next, let's take a look at some of the analytics platforms and some of the conversions that came through. So this one is Plausible. I really like Plausible. It's got a nice clean interface. As I scroll through here, you can see the countries where people are located. We can see the goal conversions. So we've got our orders here. We can see that there has been 4 total orders for a revenue total of $143 and an average order value of $47.07. Right on my analytics dashboard. Very, very helpful. Now I could see that trend month to month. We can see if business is going up and down. Yes, you can do this in WooCommerce, but now you can do it amongst all of the other analytics that's happening on your website. I think that's much more helpful than just looking at a number in isolation. You probably already noticed there are form submissions here, YouTube video plays, and search results. So there's been 4 different searches, 3 different video plays, and 8 form submissions. Now, in comparison, this is Fathom Analytics, and I actually like how this dashboard looks a lot more. It's just easy to read. But one thing I noticed right away is that it doesn't have any enhanced e-commerce. So I can only see that there's been some orders here and I don't know what they're worth or what products were ordered. Now, that could be okay for you if you're a software business and you are basically measuring signups versus paid conversions, and everybody who's signing up is kind of paying the same price. So it's not as important to get that data. Maybe this platform is going to be best for you because it is much more privacy focused. But for me, I think I would probably prefer to have that extra data included. Then, of course, there is Google Analytics. And you might notice here that it says no one is on the website right now. And I think that's very interesting. You know why it says no one's on the website? It's because I am currently using Safari, and Safari blocks Google Analytics really, really well. I was shocked to find out that, like, basically I am invisible to Google when I'm using Safari. So that is something to note for sure. If I just pop open Arc over here, which is Chromium based, and I don't have uBlock Origin or any sort of ad blockers installed here, maybe I'll click around a little bit. We'll head over to Google Analytics here and just give it a second to refresh. And sure enough, there it is. My information is coming through loud and clear. Now, don't get me wrong, Google Analytics provides a ton of very useful information. You get info here that is really hard to get any other place, that probably for good reasons, because you might be violating people's privacy by curing it. But you can see right away, I've already got like 6 page events just from that one load. We've got a page view, user engagement, scroll, and a session start event all fired. So way more data being pulled out. All I did was reload the page. Way more data sent to Google Analytics. All right, let's do a quick test here. I'm going to go ahead and buy this polo. I'll add it to cart, go view my cart, proceed to checkout, and let's place the order. Now, before I hit place order, let's see where we're at. So this is Plausible. Currently, we have $143 and 4 total conversions. Fathom, also 4 total conversions. I'm going to go ahead and place the order. The order has been received. We'll bounce back over here. This is Fathom. I'll refresh. And now we have 5 conversions. Boom, it's instantaneous. Plausible. In fact, Plausible will reload on its own. I know that from testing. Eventually, this number will just update, but I'm going to go ahead and reload here. And there we go, 5 total conversions, and our revenue total went up the appropriate amount, $20. So the combination of ConversionBridge plus these analytics platforms is rock solid. The data is coming through very consistently. Now, it does change if you're using ad blockers. Some of that information can be obscured. Like I had an example where I had an ad blocker on when I made a purchase on Plausible. It counted the conversion, but the data was actually obscured for how much came through, which I thought was really strange because it got the information before. So it's that ad blocker saying like, no, you can know there's a conversion, but you can't know the total amount that came through. Confusing to me, but it's the way it is. Another thing that was a little confusing, I've got this nice big search bar up here at the top of my website. However, this is not a standard search bar. You can see it says search product. This is a WooCommerce search bar. That is not going to work currently with ConversionBridge. Maybe they'll add that to the WooCommerce integration. However, right now, search is performed with this search bar, not going to work. I need to use this search bar over here, which is the standard WordPress search. So if I go ahead and search for things like, I don't know, how about I search for a pennant? There's a pennant for sale. You can see it shows up here on the search page. Bop over to Google Analytics, and I'm going to see right away something's going to show up for that pennant. Yeah, here we go. It says search result for pennant. It showed that I actually hit a page for the search result for pennant. However, on Fathom Analytics, all I can see was that before there was 4 completions. If I hit reload here, now there is 5. But I don't know what people search for. Plausible, going to be the same thing here. I can see 4 total searches. I'll hit reload. And now there are 5. Form submissions, by the way, also rock solid. I've got the form filled out already. I'm going to hit submit. We'll jump right over to our analytics platform. You can see here inside of Plausible, we're at 9. I'm going to reload this. And now we are up to 10, instantaneously updates. Here's Fathom in comparison, 9, hitting reload, and now we're at 10. And of course, the real-time information from Google Analytics still hanging there, showing me everything that's happening. I can see a form submission. There's been a bunch of them here, but it's not the exact same data that's coming from ConversionBridge. Now, that's not to say that it's bad. It's just this stuff would come in anyway, as long as you have those enhanced metrics on. Now, you might be wondering why I'm showing you the real-time data for Google Analytics, and that's because there's a little delay before it makes it into your actual reports, but there's a ton of information here. So let's go ahead and we'll go to Drive Online Sales. I can look at the e-commerce purchases, and I'll be able to see the actual purchases that were made. Now, it doesn't have any of the ones that I've made recently here. It just had the very first test that I did, which was for a belt, and it was $55. So we get a ton of detailed information in terms of what was actually being purchased, but it's not going to happen right away. It's not real time like the other platforms. Before we wrap up this video, I want to mention that even though ConversionBridge is currently on version 1.0, it's a really established company or developer behind the plugin. Now, WP Sunshine is their other company, and it's been around for 10 plus years. They've got a ton of very well respected plugins in the WordPress ecosystem. So this is not some fly-by-night operation that's going to do a big launch, drive a lot of sales to their website, and then just evaporate. This is someone who's in the WordPress ecosystem for life. And if you're like me, you want to put a face to the name. This is Derek Oshauer. He is the founder of ConversionBridge. Sorry if I got that name wrong, Derek, but he's the man behind the software. So if you have any questions, just go and chat with him about ConversionBridge on Twitter. I'm sure he'd love to hear a bunch of plugin requests, and he's probably bracing for that when you release a plugin like this. Now, I want to be very clear that I don't know Derek personally, but I did message him on Twitter, ask him a bunch of questions, and he did reveal some information. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to put it in the video, but you know what? He didn't say I couldn't. So I was really excited to find out that with ConversionBridge, they are planning to add integrations for things like the Meta Pixel or maybe something like the Pinterest Pixel, where you can actually take the conversions from your WordPress plugins and send that data over to the ad platforms. I think this is going to be huge. Definitely the next kind of version of this plugin, but it is in their pipeline. They're thinking about that already, which I think is a great sign. All right, so that is ConversionBridge. I'm really excited about it. If you have any questions about conversion, analytics, all that stuff, leave me a comment down below. I do have an affiliate link for ConversionBridge. If you want to check it out yourself, I would appreciate you using my link before making a purchase. Helps out the channel, lets me make more content like this. My name is Dave Swift. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.